Hello, everyone. My mic is working. Your ears are working, and we are extra attacking on this podcast.
You're making a pretty big assumption there that people's ears are working. Just gonna put the your body's not working though. We are off to
I
a hot start.
We are. Yes, it's great. We're here, and
I just want to
I
point out
had
we've been
tickle in my
doing
throat.
we've been chatting, doing show prep for 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Not once did I hear you cough.
No, it was because of the water I just drank. Like it went
Uh-huh.
down the wrong tube, and then I
That's
was
what I'm
like,
saying. It's
I'm
just
just
perfect
gonna,
timing.
I'm just gonna own it. It's gonna work. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. And everything is fine in the hockey world right now.
Depends on who you ask, but yes.
Well, if you ask the Washington Capitals, they'll say things are so good. They've never been better.
I just dude, I'm speechless with them. I still just haven't gotten myself to believing that they're actually not only in first place, but running away with the division. I mean, they're 11 points up over Carolina. 11's not small.
It's in fact twice as many numbers as a single digit number.
Yeah, no argument here.
It's just how the maths, and yeah,
2
they're
plus 2 is 4 quick maths.
it's no well it depends. It actually depends. I heard an argument where you take say two pencils. Well, each pencil's made of like a billion atoms, and so when you're adding, really, it's not always four. And
That is the
so,
stupidest argument I've ever heard.
well,
As
you
a
see,
non-math guy, even I know you can't just switch units of measurement like that.
well, in this case, you've got 11 points. Well, that's like 5 games, but in a game, there's 60 minutes. So 5 times 60 is 300. So really, 300 minutes, you could, there's numbers. Anywho, they're doing really well. And they've got a couple games in hand on Winnipeg. So even though Winnipeg's leading the league, it's Washington could overtake them.
That's another freaking weird one. Winnipeg leading the league. Like what?
Hey, they're just flying overhead because they're Jets. And yeah, I got nothing else to add. But back on Washington, we forgot our weekly Ovi Watch check-in. Jeff, how has he done in the last week? Is he cratering or is he soaring?
He has scored in 4 straight games,
Ooh.
including a goal that went in with 0.1 seconds left on the clock. Man cannot be stopped.
No, precision.
Man cannot be stopped. 16 to go. And last week we were a little concerned. That concern's now out the window for me.
Well, because, last week he was only scoring at a goal every other game, which is, a respectable pace.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, it wasn't necessarily going to be enough.
Yeah. He's on.
But now, with him scoring at a goal every game, and they've got like 24 games. I mean, 24 games, 16 goals in 24 games or something like that.
28, right? They've played 54. There's 82.
Oh, it's only 54. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, 28 then. I wasn't looking. I just thought they were closer to 60 games played. There we go. Yeah, so, yeah, because, I mean, he scored 26 in 38 games.
Yeah,
that is a goal
I think
rate.
he's got it this year, and I think the closer he gets, the more he's going to be feeling it.
Well, because they're not all empty nets that he's been scoring on either. It's not like he's just an empty net merchant right now. He's scoring real goals.
Yeah, Yeah,
from
the
everywhere
0.1
too.
seconds was an empty net, but yeah, not. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
the other thing too. I've been seeing a lot of clips of him scoring from outside of his office, and that's kind of been the big criticism over the last number of years. So he sucks everywhere except for that one place. And okay, fine, he's doing it. And he's doing it from everywhere this year.
I saw one from the point.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting them in close, getting the right side of the ice, left side of the ice. He's getting them everywhere. So it's
Oh yeah.
it's real, baby.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody has any more criticisms for him at this point. I mean, if you hate Washington, fine, you can hate him, but I don't think you really have any criticisms.
Yeah.
So, dude's there. He's got it.
I agree. Okay. Now, on to this week. There was a lot of stuff that happened this week in the week of hockey. People were giving us some good content before our 2 weeks off of regular NHL scheduled programming. And you've got to be excited about your boy Dylan Guenther.
Gunther. Dude cannot be stopped. I'm gonna say it now. Young, come back to me in 20 years. Gunther's passing Ovi. I just wanted to see the reaction.
Okay, bud. Okay.
There it is.
Okay, bud.
He came back from injury. In 2 games, has scored 3 goals, including 2 game-winning goals in overtime, including the first of which being with 0.8 seconds left on the clock, after weaving through multiple defenders. Both of his goals in that first game were no-look shots.
Oh, I love those. Those are so fun.
Dude is filthy.
Nasty
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, so he is back, not taking any time to get back into things. Really hoping he'll score today and just keep that streak going. We need that.
That would be legitimately awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be fantastic. I would love it.
Yeah.
Nah, he's a great player, and he's y'all's future. Utah's got a good future, and this is what you need. How soon till Jersey comes back too?
Last I heard it was in February. Let me see if we have an update.
Because if with Guenther coming back and already not needing any ramp up time, just already back to his scoring ways, if you could get Jersey back, then you could make that playoff push. I think you could. I think you have a chance if Jersey can come back and be good. Without him, I'm not sure if it's going to be too tight because there's really only one spot left.
Yeah.
Colorado's absorbed that first wild card spot and is fighting.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're fighting to get back into top 3 in their division. They're right there. They're tied in points with Minnesota right now.
But yeah, it would take a collapse. I'm pretty locked in. Minnesota and Colorado, there's still time for either one of those 2 teams to collapse. I'm not saying I see that happening. I'm just saying there's time for it. Vancouver, I don't. There are a lot of things being said about Vancouver. GM came out this week or last week and admitted, yeah, we traded JT Miller, but turns out he wasn't the problem. The problems are still here, and we traded the wrong guy.
Awkward.
So they're still dealing with issues in Vancouver. I see them dropping off real hard. Calgary started off real hot, and they're still a very good team right now, but they're kind of regressing to the mean.
They're fighting for it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been pretty mid their last 10. They're 5-5.
I feel like that's kind of been the last 2 months for them. But they're not like win a game, lose a game, win a game. They'll win like 5 in a row and just embarrass teams. And then they'll look like grade schoolers for 5 games.
No, it's a young team.
Unfortunately, Utah's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Where, we'll have a couple close wins here and there, but most of the time we're getting blown out and looking terrible, or we're making Winnipeg look like they're St. Mary's School for the Blind. So there's just that's our big problem. There's no consistency with the team.
Yeah.
So.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think like you were saying, once Jersey comes back, that's going to be huge for us. I'm seeing here February 7th. So as of yesterday, he is traveling this weekend to do practices with the team, but he's not coming back. It says after those two games, Utah will be on break for Four Nations, return February 22nd versus the Kings. Jersey, who has been in the lineup since October 14th, will serve in a top four capacity once healthy. So we don't have a timetable. However, the fact that he's out there practicing with the team as of today tells me that there's at least some degree of progress being made. So, yeah,
That's
Jersey
nice.
coming back. We've kind of known for a while, and the team has actively been shopping for another forward, try to get some more scoring help. Taylor Hall was that option until he got traded. I think before the deadline, if we can get one more solid goal scorer, I would love to get a goaltender. I don't know who or where that would be coming from, but I think we're in good shape if we can get one more solid goal scorer and get Jersey back. Easily at that point, I think we make the wild card.
Cool.
So there's that.
I don't know.
And Gunther's a boss.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I agree with everything you've said.
Oh, good.
All right. Well, we've had some really, really, really stupid injuries this week, and just like the one I know there's
Yeah.
others, but the one that breaks my heart the most, and that I'm praying isn't actually serious, is Sidney Crosby. This week, Sidney Crosby got just bad hit. I didn't think it was dirty or anything, but just the way it got him hurt him. And he missed one game, and it's uncertain. He's been listed as day to day, and everyone needs to panic and riot and all the things, because Sidney Crosby, if he can't make it for Four Nations, we have been so excited to have Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon all on the same team, on the same line, representing Canada. Like that is the torch being handed off from the last guy to the new guys. The old guy, the Canadian hero that scored the golden goal for us in the Olympics, the last time NHL players were in the Olympics. And then we've had nothing. And so, we're finally getting back the international hockey. If Crosby can't be there as he's our captain. If you don't have your captain, is it worth even playing anymore?
Cancel the tournament.
Cancel the
tournament.
delay everything.
Yeah.
This man needs to be there.
I mean, there is some promising news. It looks like this article was written an hour ago. Coach is saying that things are looking encouraging. He did go skate with the team yesterday in the morning. Did miss last night's game. But everything's looking good for him.
Well, and like we can have we can have the Penguins go without him for a few games just to rest him up to try and get him ready for Four Nations, because the Penguins, they're not making the playoffs. They don't need him.
No.
The priority for him this season is Four Nations. So as long as he's just got to recover, he's just got to get better, and everything's fine. But
Interesting.
what is interesting?
I just found another article 13 minutes ago from MSN Sports. Obviously Crosby's injured. We don't know if he's going to play, blah, blah, blah. And according to Darren Dredger, the contingency plan in question is possibly Mark Scheifele. He has been, quote, put on alert to play.
Oh.
To replace Crosby.
What a name to replace. Hey, bud, you're going to have to come in for Crosby.
Yeah. With that being said, I don't think Team Canada would be too upset having Mark Scheifele.
No, that's... I definitely think would be nice to have. Mark Scheifele's been excellent this season from
Oh,
what I
yeah.
can remember.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 31 goals, 63 points in 56 games.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. I don't know how you keep him off the team to begin with.
Well, that's could be a little bit of the old boys club coming in here, as we have heard recently with that report that Logan Thompson was held off of the roster because Bruce Cassidy and whoever the other guy is were like, we don't like his personality. We don't want him. Well, then why, if it was personality you cared about, why didn't you put Fleury on the team there, guys? Okay?
Yeah.
The man who literally just tied for second most games played of any goalie in the league this week, all time. And so his next game he plays will literally make him second most games played by a goalie all time in the NHL. Second only to Martin Brodeur, who will never be caught because he was inhuman.
Yeah, I found just on that Scheifele thing. I think you're correct, and this is the first I've heard of it. But I just found an article from some French Canadian website that Google's trying to translate, so it's not perfect.
Well, you're
But-
supposed to read it in French if it's a French Canadian website. They don't allow
Well-
translation. That's illegal.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, come get me, Trudeau. I dare you.
That's a Bloc Québécois who come and get you.
They can all come down here. I have guns. They don't. Stupid
True.
Canada.
Yeah. True.
This reporter up there though said, "I'll wait a little longer. I'm going to let the tournament move on. We'll come back to Mark Scheifele. Why he's not in right now, I'm going to be careful. But from what I hear, this isn't really not cute."
What a translation.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So obviously the translation's not perfect, but it's some kind of a character issue from what I'm getting here. What the
Gosh.
journalist reports is that people would have something against him, which would have led to his absence. As the reporter says, Team Canada used to don't care about the character of the guys, and the best guys were chosen.
Used to don't care.
Yeah, translated into proper English, Team Canada used to just pick whoever the best player was, regardless of character, but they don't do that anymore, which is why Scheifele was left off. That's the first I've ever heard. I mean, obviously, we don't know the inner workings of every player. I've never heard of Mark Scheifele kind of being that guy.
Well, and that's where it's a bit of a, well, how much of it is
Yeah.
his actual character and more just the playing the favorites of the management playing favorites.
Yeah. Yeah, and that very well could be.
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. People will we can speculate all we want, but at the end of the day, I mean, he's got a decent chance of getting to go on because Crosby isn't Canada's only possible dropout due to injury, as you have listed here. Mitchell Marner. I actually don't know if his full name's Mitchell. Everyone just calls him Mitch. Mitch Marner.
I would guess. Yeah, Crosby and Marner. That's going to hurt
Yeah.
Team Canada.
Yes. That is not. If I had to pick any two players, those two. I mean, Crosby would probably be the bottom of my list.
Okay.
Marner wouldn't be like top 3, but he's definitely like top 7. I'd say looking at the roster. If we pull it up here, you know, like obviously I'd rather lose Marner than McDavid or McKinnon.
Sure.
and
yeah. You'd be dumb not to.
And the season Rhino's having, Reinhardt.
Yeah.
And Cale Makar. I mean, guys, come on. Cale Makar. He's so good. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
He's so good. Yeah, so obviously them. But then, you know, there's some other guys like Cirelli, Konechny, Marchand. We could lose them. We have other people. Canada's got other players.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to find. See if there's any other replacements. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, you could have Zach Hyman. You could have Nick Suzuki. you could have.
Sportsnet, yeah, Sportsnet says here's a selection of forwards, defensemen, and goaltenders we'd hope would be considered. Well, that doesn't help, but they do have Scheifele as the number one on their list.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. We're not gonna know who they're gonna pick, but who does Sportsnet say is the possible replacements?
Yeah, so their list, they've got Scheifele, Robert Thomas, Connor Bedard, Zach Hyman, Tom Wilson, Nick Suzuki. So you hit 2 of those. Defense, Drew Doughty, Mackenzie Weegar, Evan Bouchard, Chris Tanev.
I would pick currently I'd either pick Tanev or Weegar. They're both having really good seasons. Tanev's actually leading the league in blocked shots. So that's pretty big.
Yeah. And then goaltenders, they've got Logan Thompson, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
I would kill to see Marc-Andre Fleury on that roster.
Let's replace Binnington with Thompson and Montembeault with Fleury.
Yeah.
For Pete's sake, can we just
with Adin Hill
fix that? Yeah, Adin Hill, I like the guy. He's a good goalie, really good goalie.
Yeah.
He's shown he can step up in the big moments. I mean,
something like this. I mean, it's an exhibition. Put the Flower out there, especially since he's retired. We all want him. We all want to see it.
I think Montembeault should conveniently not go, and it's like, guys, I can't make it. I gotta go water my my Christmas tree, and
Yeah, I got a haircut appointment that day. Sorry, guys, can't make it.
Yeah, sorry. My hairless cat needs. I need to take my hairless cat to the barbershop.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah. I gotta go fertilize my.
Yeah, I don't know.
My garden in Montreal in February.
It goes back to my complaint. Oh, we're frozen.
Oh no.
So hopefully I'm not talking over you, but I'm gonna keep talking during the freeze, just so there's something. It goes back to my complaint that I was making a couple weeks ago. They released these rosters, in my opinion, way too early in the season. We didn't know what kind of a season some of these players were going to have. Some of them obviously it doesn't matter what kind of a season they are going to have, or rather, it doesn't matter how much you've seen. They're going to have a good season. You can't leave somebody like McDavid or McKinnon or Makar off these lists. They're going to be up there. The rest of them, people like Binnington, people like Montembeault, some of those people we've talked about, some of these guys really haven't had big years, yet they made these rosters because they were announced first thing.
Yeah, and you can still hear me.
Saros, for example, dude got demoted, and he's Finland's starting goalie. So, you're back now.
Yes, you are also back. We could hear you the whole time. So fortunately, that whole thing you said, great, very well said. Yeah, Finland.
Sweet. Well, thank you.
I mean, the thing is, Saros isn't the one who's been bad. It's the rest of Nashville that's been bad.
Sure, yeah. No, I can agree with that, but
Saros has been great. I mean, Finland is, I think we can all agree, is likely going to be the last place finisher. They've got some great talent here, but at the same time, who is some of these people aren't big name. They're not that's they'd make it to the All-Star game for their team. They're great players. They're great second line they've got a bunch of great, if they're on your second line, you're in a great spot. If they're on your first line, you're mid. Yeah, I think it's Sweden's in great shape. Sweden is looking really powerful. I don't love that Mika Zibanejad is their first line center according to this projected lineup, but
if we can trust Uffe Boden.
Uffe Boden. Whoever that is. But then, I mean, if we look at the U.S. roster, holy Dinah.
Yeah.
Though, if Quinn Hughes can't make it.
He's the third one I had on the list is a possible missing due to injury. Let's see if there's any updates on him. Quinn Hughes, Four Nations. The team was hopeful that he'd be playing today, so that tells me he'll, even if he doesn't play today, that he's at least close enough that he was considered.
Yeah. Yeah, and it could be again. The thing is,
hey, you're
he's
frozen
a
again.
situation like how I said with Crosby, how it's like the Penguins can let him
depends on the next
rest.
48 hours. Guess that's what it really comes down to. We'll sit down with Quinn and talk to him. It's a day-to-day thing. They're letting him make the decision, though.
Yeah. Now, see, the thing is, he's so important to the Vancouver Canucks who are fighting for a playoff spot. And if without him, that is a huge difference. Their metrics with and without Hughes.
I do want to point out, too, in the most Canadian thing that's ever happened, a snowplow took out his internet yesterday. So it looks like he's still suffering the effects of that. Oh, you're back.
I mean, okay, good. That's really weird. Everything again on my end's working, so it's everything. I don't know. Just for some reason, sending it to you is always. We'll find a way to fix it. We've been experimenting, and so far our experiments haven't been working. Anywho, yes, I did lose the internet for most of yesterday because a snowplow took out the internet box, which is wonderful.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So Quinn Hughes may be out, but I don't know. Do we just go into our Four Nations since we're already there?
Yeah, we can circle back to the other things.
We'll talk about some Four Nations here. So what do you think's gonna happen?
I think.
Who's good, who's bad?
Well, I think Finland's gonna finish last. Finland. Okay. You know, if this was an NHL roster, if this was an NHL team, like, oh boy, this is a powerful lineup. But when you compare it to everything else, like there's just like Jani Hakanpää, Nico Mikkola, Välimäki, like these are names that I kind of have heard, but I don't know a lot of these players. I just kind of know some of them in passing.
Don't you talk bad about Juuso Välimäki. He and Mata are defensive line mates on Utah.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I know their names, but I don't know much about them. They're not like these big household names. Whereas you look at Sweden,
Välimäki shouldn't have made it, but I think, my opinion, I think Finland just, we don't have enough names left in the league, so we got to just take who we can get. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's just their depth isn't the same as other leagues. Like say Finland's first line: Barkov, Rantanen, like Lankinen.
A+.
That's great. That's an incredible first line. You got Aho, Teravainen, Granlund. Great second line. Awesome. Hintz, one of the most underrated centers in the league. Patrick Laine.
Oh yeah.
Great. I didn't realize he was Finnish. And Luosterainen. Okay, not bad. But then, you're starting to go Lundell, Capo Caco, Joel Armia. Like, there's been all kinds of debate over Capo Caco.
Yeah. Yeah. And none of those players are bad by any means. I think you put it really well that if this was an NHL roster, that's scary. But if we're taking the best of the best and putting together, I mean, basically, these are all-star teams. They're kind of weak.
Yeah. So it's, just the depth as you go down the line. Lots of good stuff. Like, I mean, look at USA. You got Matthews, Tkachuk, Miller, Connor, Eichel, Tkachuk. Like, that's an absolutely dominant first two lines. And then your third line's Jack Hughes, Dylan Larkin, Chris Kreider. And then Gunsel, Trocheck, and Boldy.
I'd even take, I don't know, I'd take their fourth line over the third line, to be honest with you. I mean,
I don't know, man.
the fact
Jack
that we can
Hughes.
have that conversation and
Yeah.
kind of a big deal.
Yeah. They're just drowning in
Defense is
talent.
even better.
Yeah, Quinn Hughes, McAvoy, Jacob Slavin, Adam Fox, Zach Werenski. Zach Werenski's on your third pairing
Werenski.
defense, and he's in the conversation for the Norris this year. Like, dude.
Yeah. When Noah Hannafin is the one getting scratched, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, and then to top it all off, you got the Hellebuck.
Hellebuck and Ottinger.
Yes, Swayman's your e-bug.
Good luck. Yeah, good luck.
Now, see, here's the thing, and this was the conversation where people are like, oh, you know, the team with the best goaltending is always the one that's going to win. And this is where we can kind of get into it. Well, it's like, yeah, maybe in a long series, that's going to play more of a factor.
Yeah.
But these are best of ones, right? It's a quick round robin. Everyone plays everyone else once, and then your top two play in a final. That's the format. That's it. Anyone can have a bad game. Anyone can have a good game.
Exactly.
Finland could win this for all we know. Like this is how it is a coin flip, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. And that's what I like about these more short form tournaments. Barring the weird stuff, barring the anything can happen. What are you thinking? I've got, like I said earlier, I've got mine broken down, so I can tell you who I think's got the best forwards, the best D-men, the best goalies, and then overall standings. So I've broken it down into all four categories on kind of what I think's going to happen.
Okay. Do tell.
So my forwards, I think Canada just edges out the USA.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Purely because it's hard for me to ever say no to McDavid and McKinnon at all, let alone those two being on the same line.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be upset if somebody flipped those two. I don't think that's necessarily a bad call. But I do think Canada edges it out. However, I do have on my notes, I said, watch out for Finland. As much as we're crapping on Finland, I think they could be quietly scary. I have a lot of faith in Rantanen. I have a lot of faith in Aho. Roope
I
Hintz,
like the forward lineup in Sweden better, though.
I do, but what I'm saying is I think Finland's underrated. I think Sweden's better, but I think we're all saying Finland is just bottom of the barrel. They're crap. They suck. There's no way. I think they deserve a lot more credit than what we're giving them and what I've heard from other people as well.
Sure. Well,
I think we're getting crapped on a little too hard.
Well, and that's the conundrum we're in, right? We're having best on best lineups here.
Sure.
And so it's like, yeah, we're crapping on them. But at the same time, like, this lineup would wreck any team in the NHL.
Sure.
No one's going to argue that.
100%. But that leads into the defenseman, and I mean, no surprise here. I mean, easily U.S. Easy.
If Quinn Hughes isn't there, I don't know if I can agree. If Quinn Hughes is out, I think Canada.
You really think so? I mean, you got Makar.
Yeah, but if we look at Canada, Makar and Devin Taves, Josh Morrissey, Colton Parenko, and Alex Pietrangelo and Shea Theodore.
Pietrangelo's been having a down year.
Yes. If we ignore the year he's been having, like I think he's great up there. I don't think Shea Theodore is the best, which is why I say I agree with the US thing if Quinn Hughes is in, because I think Shea Theodore is a bit of a weaker pick.
Sure, but even if you take Quinn Hughes out, we still got McAvoy, Werenski, Fox, and Faber.
Yeah, but but the thing is, if you start, the only person who, say, can compete with Makar in that list was Hughes. Then you've got Devin Taves, and now Devin Taves may not be individually the most stunning wow thing, but when he's paired with Makar, the thing is, Makar and Taves together make them both elevated to even more. They have so much experience playing together, and that's one of the things that I like what Canada's done is they've picked two pairs that have chemistry, that have played together. That makes them inherently better. So if you look on an individual scale,
I'll give you
sure. But who on these on Team USA has actually played together. That makes a
I'll give
big
you that.
difference in defensive performance.
Sure, and I'll give you that. So let's take it line by line then. Canada wins line 1 if Quinn Hughes is gone. You can have that all day long. Slavin and Fox, you're gonna say Shea Theodore and Pietrangelo is gonna do better than that line?
That I
Morrissey
don't know.
and Parayko is gonna be better than Werenski and Faber? I'm not buying that.
I would
So
I would
line,
say
you
I would say Morrissey is. I don't know about Parenko. I can't necessarily say that about Parenko, but
you're gonna take
Morrissey is a
Morrissey
top.
over-
Morrissey's a top tier defenseman, man.
He
Morrissey's
is, but you're gonna take him over the year Werenski's having?
well, Werenski is having a great year offensively, but Morrissey's the number 1 D on Winnipeg, the team that's in first
Sure.
place in the league, and he's their
Sure.
best defenseman.
Sure.
Like yeah, Werenski's having a great individual year for offense, but the Norris Trophy is more going to the defenseman that does the best offensively. It's more become an offensive defenseman trophy.
Sure.
Morrissey's had a bit of a down year in terms of offensive production,
Yeah.
but who cares when they have the best goal differential in the league? Like, oh no.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
mean, Canada. I'm not saying Canada's bad, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay. Go to goalies. Though I think this is
Real quick. I do have there as well because I did take another underrated pick. I think Sweden. I think they're
Sweden's
quietly-
got okay. No, Sweden's
Yeah.
Sweden's D pairings actually dirty, nasty.
Yeah.
Victor Hedman and Rasmus Dahlin. Dahlin actually going to have a competent D partner here that's experienced, that has won cups. Like that's going to be so good for Dahlin and his learning and his growth.
Yep.
Like even though it's only going to be for a few games, getting to be D partners with Victor Hedman, that's fantastic for the guy.
Oh yeah.
Eric Carlson.
I think. I mean, I know you see him a lot as an Edmonton fan, but Matthias Ekholm, I think the dude just doesn't get the credit that he deserves defensively. Not necessarily offensive defense. He's gross. Like that dude's filthy out there.
Well, you want to know a really fun stat about Matthias Ekholm?
I would love to hear a really fun stat about Matthias Ekholm.
So, firstly, he loves salmon, and I know this because I know his realtor, and she's told me. But secondly, the guy
Okay.
in his 154 games with Edmonton is, I'll get the exact calculation here, so I'm 100% accurate. In his 154 games with Edmonton, he's a plus 89.
Ooh. That's not nothing.
And he's on our top pairing. He rarely gets power play time, so it's not like, so all of this time is either penalty kill or 5-on-5. But 5-on-5, playing against the best players in the world, and being the D partner of Evan Bouchard, who's very gifted offensively, but is grown a lot and gotten a lot better defensively. But this year has been having a bit of some Bouch bobbles, as I like to call them.
Yeah,
He's still a plus 89 across 154 games.
He is making Bouchard look good defensively, or at least preventing him from looking horrendous defensively. I do not like Bouchard as a defender. I mean, I don't think that's a hot take, but
well, his stats over the last 20 games would start to say otherwise. He's gotten a lot better this season, and it was just kind of the first half of the season where he struggled. He's grown a lot, and he's young. He's 25. Okay, defensemen take a while to mature, and his puck moving skills are elite, and his ability to read the game is just so hard to see and appreciate. So it's, quick side tangent. People don't understand what it means to be a good defenseman, and people will hound on specific, and I say this because I see people do it to a lot of the defensemen in Edmonton. Ekholm will say make a defensive mistake or have something that looks like it, and people will be like, oh, that's okay. So many other defensemen in Edmonton, whether it's Nurse, Bouchard, whoever, the exact same happens, and they'll be like, oh, look, he sucks, he's so bad, get rid of him, trade him, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, bro, Makar does this happens to every defense. Yeah. Chill. And they don't give the defense, we don't know how to view the correct things that a defenseman does, because the thing is, the less you notice a defenseman, the better they're doing, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how good your defensemen are. You're not going to shut out every team every night. That's just the way it is. You can play perfectly. You can make mistakes. It doesn't matter. You're going to give up goals. That's how sports goes.
Mm. Especially when you're playing the most minutes of anyone on the ice and against the best players on the other team.
Oh, yeah. You go figure, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know. I feel like in that specific example, Ekholm has earned a little bit of grace with some of those mistakes, but I can agree with you on the principle of it, that it's just so hard to be objective, especially when a vast majority of sports fans in any sport don't want to be objective. I think that's more of the issue. It's less that they can't and more that they just don't want to, they don't care to. But anyway, yeah. Defenseman, Sweden, underrated. Goalies.
Now
is there even a question?
There's the easy pick. Well, now, let me take a second here.
Yeah, quiet down there, Obama. Nobody's better than Hellebuck and Ottinger.
Now listen. No one can deny their skill and their competence. Okay, but
don't get all wee-weed up.
If we take a look here at the Swedish goaltending, you have a man who has won the Vezina as your scratched goalie, and you have a Vezina finalist who's having an unreal season in Jacob Markstrom, and then his backup is on a team that at one point was the best team in the league before injuries crippled them in Gulfstofsen. Now, if we look at the U.S., only one of these goalies has won a Vezina. Two of them have been in a conversation, sure. But none of these goalies have won. None of the six goalies we're talking about have actually won anything. So in reality, Canada has the best goalies because they have the most.
That is the biggest cope I've ever heard.
How many cups do your goalies have, huh? I think a big fat
Tom Brady.
A 0. Look, we got a 0 here. We got a 0 here. I look through them. Nothing.
I was laughing though.
Nothing.
Because you're still like, hold up on the USA. Look at Sweden. My note literally says USA 1, Sweden next, even with Markstrom out.
Yes, that's true. Markstrom might be hurt.
Markstrom's out.
Oh, is he for sure out?
Yeah, he's for sure out.
Brutal.
Yeah, he's for sure out.
Brutal.
Because he's IR. I think it was like a torn UCL or something like that. But he's for sure out. So you got Samuel Ersson, Philip Gustafsson, Linus Ullmark. Sorry, Linus.
Yes, say it right. Get it right.
I'm just a dirty American. I'm sorry.
Who do you think you are? He is.
Goalies USA, Sweden next. Easy choice for me. Finland, they're not bad at all. I think Lankinen and UPL. I feel like both of those guys don't really get the attention they deserve. Saros, everybody knows of Saros. And Canada's... What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are doing?
What are do?
I looked it up. Mackenzie Blackwood is Canadian. So I
Ooh.
I feel like you could actually your three possible substitutes are Thompson, Fleury, and Blackwood, and
Which would be they would
I think that's a
probably
better
be
lineup than
better.
these three, if I'm being honest.
At least they'd be and they'd at least be tied for me with Sweden. At least that might be better than Sweden.
Yeah.
This is just,
And-
in my view, one more example of why it was bad to put these rosters out so early and choose who's going to be on these Four Nations teams. Blackwood was on the Sharks. I don't blame anybody for not picking anybody from the Sharks. But look how good he is. He got himself out of there and has been dominant since.
Yeah.
Why did we put these rosters out so freaking early?
I don't know. I mean, you gotta give people time to prepare. You gotta get the communication, make arrangements. Like, these people have families. Like, there's
Sure.
things that you have to make arrangements for, and you want
And
to
I'm
give
not saying
people
they
notice.
should have put it out this week. Yeah, but I don't know. At least wait till like Christmas. You know?
Eh.
It's a
There's
good Christmas
probably
present.
lots of
For Michigan.
there's probably lots of stuff in the background we just don't know, and that required it.
Yeah.
Also, marketing. You gotta do the marketing.
Yeah. I think that's probably the biggest thing there.
Yeah.
Which sucks because they could have, after, all of us as fans, we've seen how good these players have been this year. We kind of we've all speculated. We've picked the teams. Now let's the NHL can sit down. They can do a show like they do the draft, and we can watch as they reveal who's going to be on these. And I think that would be a good night for the NHL. But what do I know? I'm just some idiot who talks on the internet.
That's true.
Who do you have winning the whole thing? Give me your standings.
Oh, Canada. Canada beats the U.S. in overtime. Crosby to McDavid gets to Crosby, who gets it to McKinnon, who scores the game winner in overtime to win it all. Just
So now
long,
that the
short of it.
bias fantasy ends over, who's actually winning it?
Oh, I'm still picking Canada.
Do you actually think Canada?
Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I still pick Canada.
Okay, so I've got U.S.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I've got Canada 2. I've got Sweden 3, and I've got Finland 4.
See, I wouldn't have been mad if you'd pick Sweden too. Like, that's the thing. I think any of these teams can win. I think it's a complete coin flip who actually comes out in what spot, and it's like I'm not gonna be mad no matter what,
That's why we had
this is just gonna be good hockey.
Oh yeah, and I think that's why we had to lead this whole segment off with barring any of the weird, unseeable, unknowable stuff.
That's what we
On
want
paper,
to happen. We
That's
want the unknowable.
my 4. Well, yeah, but just on paper, I think that's the order that they go in there. And I don't know. It'll be fun. And unfortunately, as I was putting these notes together, I'm like, I mean, I'm not just, there's a tie between these two teams, so I'm picking USA. Like, I didn't consciously do any of that. I just genuinely, I think they've got the strongest team. And it makes sense. They have the most options to choose from. Of course, when you have more options to choose from, you got a deeper talent pool. It's going to happen that way. But also, Canada just choked to the U.S. in juniors, so...
Well, yeah, that's not saying much. Our junior program management is one of the biggest jokes in the sports world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine a coach. Imagine your coach canceling practice after a loss because the boys are tired.
I'm tired.
I have no regrets on how I did anything.
How do you feel? Let's get it all out, son.
No, we have other things to talk about. Okay. Well, I can vent the anger into Ryan, heartless man. Oh no, he froze just at the time
That
of my
freaking idiot.
great pun. Great pun. Oh, we heard him. We heard him.
You froze again.
Yes.
Sick.
Man, they did not fix. Oh, am I back?
There we
They did not
You're
fix.
back.
They did not fix the internet very well yesterday. Clearly, this is.
Oh, they're terrible at their jobs.
Yeah. Anyway, I said on to Ryan Heartless Man.
Yep.
Yeah. Ryan Hartman, idiot.
I don't like the 10-game suspension, but you know me. I
Well, it's
take this stuff very seriously.
because
I
he
want,
has a
like,
history.
I know. I want more.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
the expected amount actually was going to be 8, so they did give him more than was anticipated, than was precedented.
Which is good. Would you like to show the clip for any of the people, the few people that probably haven't seen it?
I don't have it on hand,
It's about
unfortunately.
okay. I'll see if I can find it real quick.
I mean, I can just give a quick demonstration, if that would be
no.
helpful.
Oh no.
How's that?
That was pretty good. Pretty good.
Thank you. I added sound effects just for fun.
Oh, what a child. He's gonna appeal it.
Well, yeah, naturally.
Just
10
shut
games.
up and take it.
It's half a well, he's likely appealing it because of the salary part. He's losing $500,000 across that 10 games.
Yeah. He could have taken out somebody's career and lost a lot more than $500,000, including the dude's life. We forget that he just freaking dropped that dude's head into the ice. That could have killed him.
But it didn't. All right. Here we go. Let's find.
This is
Yeah.
of
Bang.
all the nasty hits and things we've been seeing this year that I've been whining about. This is the most disgusting thing I've seen on the ice. The rest of them, at the very least, it's, oh, I did something stupid in the heat of the moment. We were fighting for the puck.
Yeah. There's nothing.
No.
Like, he's not even going for the puck.
Nope.
Then there's the arm, gets it right there. Elbow right on the head.
And then drops his whole body weight onto his neck. DDTs him right into the ice face first.
Bang. That is so scary. Yeah, here's another angle. Like, you just it's so conscious too. Like, it's so intentional how he literally lifts his arm around, gets it in position, and then bang.
Well, then look at Stoltzly's right arm too. So he's gonna go in there. Hartman gets under there and holds his right arm up. So not only am I gonna drive your face into the ice with my entire body weight, but I'm gonna hold your arm back so that you can't defend yourself.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, 10 games is not enough for me for that. Again, this wasn't, I made a mistake. This wasn't, we were just fighting for the puck too hard. This wasn't, I'm going to retaliatory cross-check you to the face. I'm not saying any of those things are okay, but this was a very conscious, I'm trying to hurt somebody. Ugh. Anyway, I don't want to get worked up, but it pisses me off.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and I mean 10 games I think is appropriate. I'm glad it's that many. And yeah, you could say it's more. It should be more. That's opinion. Like, it's from what I've heard, it's the right amount.
Yeah.
And I just, like, at this point, why do you keep doing? Why are there people that want to do that? Because it's not even. It doesn't help you.
No.
Like it's not even an effective way to hurt someone. Like there are ways in hockey to crush a dude legally.
Hmm.
Why not go for those? Even if it's you can target a guy, and heck, even if he doesn't have the puck and you get an interference call.
Yeah.
Do it in a way that helps that doesn't hurt your team so much. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I have a theory, and I've thought about it with a lot of these other instances, and then this instance really put it into mind because you're right. There are a lot better ways of doing anything you could have resulted from this. I don't. I want to see a balanced conversation, but I'm just afraid that the conversation will blow out of proportion if it starts hitting national level. If the league starts really looking into it, I think CTE is the thing that is in this league.
CTE.
CTE. It's I don't remember what it stands for, but the NFL's been having a huge deal with it the last number of years, where people are getting hit in the head so many times it's actually altering their brain and making holes in their brain, and then they lose themselves and they can't think straight, and that's where a lot of these behavioral issues and violent tendencies come out.
Oh, so concussion something something.
Basically.
Yeah, okay.
Where a lot of these guys are just losing the ability to think straight, and they're just becoming very, very impulsive and very violent for no good reason.
Sure, it's not steroids.
That could be as well. I don't know if Ryan Hartman takes steroids.
I just. Oh no, no.
Could be right.
Steroids don't really help much in hockey. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, but I mean this, and again, I'm not saying that it's the case. I'm not saying it's the truth, but it's definitely a possibility. But this was a very easy example to point to and say that is absolutely something I expect to see out of somebody that's got CTE and is having those kinds of issues. It's scary stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know much about Antonio Brown and his career, but I'll have to show you some clips and stuff later on. But unfortunately, the only way to deal with that, and this is why I said there needs to be a balanced approach and a balanced conversation league-wide, if this starts being taken seriously, you can't have fighting, you can't have hits, you have to do all this other stuff and make sure the head can never be hit and never hurt. You're going to trip and fall and smash your head into the ice, and we can't have that anymore. And so they need to find a way to better protect the players without ruining the sport and going overboard. And I'm just not sure that they can have that kind of conversation.
Well, I think they are, but it's it's about small changes and about players being willing to protect each other, because that's ultimately doesn't matter what you do. You can have all the equipment, all the rules in the league, in the world, and it comes down to the players and their willingness to protect themselves and each other. And all it takes is one person not willing to do that, so you just got to keep promoting that everyone buy in, everyone working on things, and that at the end of the day it is what it is. But there are little things that are done, like say a couple years ago when the accidental wrist cutting of Evander Kane happened.
Yeah.
That complete and utter accident. Well, now it's okay, well, now let's try and make sure that we're getting proper wrist protection for players. And so that's now becoming more of a thing. The recent thing in that European league with the neck getting cut, or the minor league, whatever that is, you're starting to see more players wearing the neck protection.
Yeah.
Like there's one guy on the Vancouver team who he looks like the Patrick Mahomes like neck warmer situation thing, right? Where it's just like he's covered head to toe completely and stuff, and I'm like, that's kind of funny. But
yeah,
I'm like, oh, you must be, it's like absolutely boiling in that all. But yeah, like there's
one thing I'd like to see along those lines too. Like obviously I'm not a scientist. I've never tested the thing. I don't know the science behind it, but I have worn a hockey helmet. Those things are not very thick. The padding is very thin. Like there's just not a lot there. I would like to see some way of beefing that up a little bit.
No.
Without having to go full helmet. like a football helmet. Like that's
You're
excessive.
you're never going to get past what it like. It's got to be lightweight. It's got like it can't be a football helmet. It can't
Yeah,
be
that's what I'm saying.
like it's. You're going to see cages and or bubbles made mandatory before you see any volume increase to the size of helmets. And but even then, like they've made visors almost completely mandatory. I think there's some, like it might be a grandfathered rule thing.
One or two players grandfathered in, yeah.
Where it's like, how in warm-ups, after a certain point, after a certain year, players have been required to wear helmets during warm-up, but if you came into the league before that year, it's up to you. You get to decide. And so, you'll still see players not wearing helmets during warm-ups.
Yeah.
But that will one day be a thing of the past, which
I'm not super concerned about warm-up. I think you should, but as far as making it mandatory during warm-ups, I'm not concerned about that.
Heck, I think it should be optional for the goalie even. Kidding.
Sure?
Kidding.
Sure?
Kidding. Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
we'll see. There are things that happen, and they're continuing to make small changes, but I think it comes down to you just got to get the players to all buy in, and Hartman clearly isn't willing to buy in.
Well, and that brings up the point too. If somebody's not willing to buy in, what do we do about it? Because he can get upset about 10 games, $500,000 all he wants, but he's just going to be right back out there doing it again.
Well, that's when the players got to police themselves.
Yeah, but we don't allow them to do that anymore.
Well, we don't allow them to cross-check each other in the head.
Well, I think Ryan Hartman needs to. He needs to take a couple sticks to the mouth, and then maybe he'll get it. Or maybe it'll make his CTE even worse. Who knows? Anyway.
Well, I'm sure. we'll send a message to McDavid. Maybe he'd be willing to help out.
There you go. Yeah, McDavid or Susie, one of the two.
Yeah, there we go. Or Myers.
Yep.
Myers also. Tyler Myers.
Yeah.
Speaking of players from Vancouver. So they made all their big moves, but has anything changed?
No, and I alluded to this a little while ago. Top brass is not happy. Rumor has it they are in there still having just as bad, if not worse, locker room issues, and saying, "Oh crap, Miller wasn't the issue. We traded the wrong guy."
Yeah, it might have been Elias Pettersson. Yeah. Their $11.5 million star.
I just hope they don't trade him, because I need them to collapse more for Utah, but more importantly, I want a goal, Pettersson to Pettersson from Pettersson.
Yes.
They've collected all the Petterssons. They need to trade Jack Hughes to the Devils, though. And then I want
Quinn
the Devils.
Jack Hughes is already on the.
Yes, that one. But I want an overtime game between Vancouver and New Jersey, so that we can have Pettersson and Pettersson and Pettersson against Hughes, Hughes, and Hughes.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
It's a bold thing to ask.
I'm a simple man. I don't require a lot to be entertained.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. We can actually we can just review the current stats of the players who have been traded recently. So JT Miller, since being traded, in 4 games has 2 goals and 2 assists. So he's keeping on pace. He's doing a point per game. Excellent.
I just want to point out, though, both those goals came in 1 game.
Sure. But you're not going to score every game. Not even the Great 8 scores every game.
No. And I'm not saying he's bad. Just pointing that out. Half that production did come in 1 game.
And that's fine. I think you got to look at things in bunches. You can't look at any one individual game.
Yeah.
Martin Necas, in 8 games, has had 4 goals and 5 assists with 2 game-winning goals. For those 2. He what?
I think he got better.
Well,
after
he's
this.
on the same line as Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he wasn't playing with anyone of that caliber in Carolina. Now he's like, oh, by the way, yeah, so you've been traded, but now you get to be the winger for one of the top 3 players in the world. You're welcome. So he's like, cool. He scored the game-winning goal last night in the Edmonton, Colorado game. It was a banger.
There's a large part of me that hopes that was a preview to a playoff series.
Oh yes, please. Oh, because right now, if everything stayed the same, and we started the playoffs now, Edmonton, Colorado would be round 1, which is awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll stay. There's plenty of time for things to shake up, but that would be a heck of a playoff series.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, because especially in the first round, because the last time Edmonton, Colorado played each other, Edmonton was really banged up. I'm sure Colorado had their injuries too, but you had Draisaitl with a high ankle sprain, Darnell Nurse with a broken rib, and other things that were happening. But the only thing that I'd liked is I would still prefer it to start in April, because Stuart Skinner, less than 2 weeks ago, had his second baby born. So he's become a father a second time. Is a couple of his games in the last couple since his baby's been born, I don't think he's been getting enough sleep, because his play has been kind of reflecting it, and I'm like, yeah, you haven't been your usual self. Maybe it's because you now have a child, a second one.
That would do it. That would do it.
Like, he played a little better out of town, I believe, if memory serves. But wow, out of town when he's getting a full night's sleep and not being woken up by one of 2 children. Like, his children are both under the age of 2 or 3.
Yeah. Young family. Yeah.
And
that would do it.
And he's the type of person who would be helping his wife with the new child when he's home. So he's that kind of a guy. Family comes first sort of thing almost for him. So it's kind of like, yeah, I'm glad the 4 Nations is here. Give him a little bit of extra time.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But quickly, Rantanen, speaking of performance, 6 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. He is not flourishing without McKinnon right now.
Yeah, and obviously that's going to be a part of it. I wonder how much of it is just getting used to the new area. It's stressful. I think that's one thing that we tend to forget. Yeah, the ice is the same wherever you go.
It's actually not. Fun fact.
Shut up. The team is different. Your teammates are different. The locker room being different and in a different place is strange, but I live in a different hotel room or a different apartment. I don't know where my barber shop is. I don't know where my mechanic is. I don't know where the local Subway is. It's a lot. I mean, anybody that's moved anywhere, let alone across the country, it's a huge deal. And that's a lot of stress to put on a person. So I wonder how much of it is just that kind of stuff getting to him right now. And he's just, once he settles in, I think he'll be fine.
Well, and also, he's now supposed to be the guy in Carolina, right? Like, he's in Colorado, the spotlight would be on first McKinnon, then Makar, then him.
Yep.
There were other superstars to take off some pressure. Now, in Carolina, now everyone's like, oh, they finally got their game breaker, like, series changer, clutch moment kind of guy. This is now their superstar.
Yeah.
He's not used to that, being that guy, and so that's going to take a little bit to figure out how to deal with.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're a team that I've been high on for a couple of years now, though. So I think at some point he's going to settle in. I do think, and obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. I do think Carolina's going to retain him. I do think they're going to re-sign him. And Hall both.
That's a good segue into our talking about trade deadline / signing speculations, because Mikko Rantanen is one of the top available UFAs come July.
Yep.
come July.
Yep.
And
Everybody's wanting him, obviously. Everybody's going to try to go get him. I think they do have the upper hand because he's there. He's already getting established. As much as it is stressful, at some point you do want to be the guy. And he's in a good situation to be the guy, but he's also got a lot of support around him. It's not like he's the only guy.
you could do a lot worse than Carolina in terms of a team to
Absolutely.
make your home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I think they're going to make a huge push. I think he's going to take it. I think he stays.
And I think that obviously that's what Carolina fans want.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've
And that's
heard,
the thing. Anything could happen.
I've heard so many rumblings about how it could be that he leaves. And, you know, every team, there's a theory about how every team could sign him, you know, and everyone where it's like, how in the world would they afford him? But now with the cap going up, like everyone's going to be in on this guy. He can go wherever he wants at whatever price he wants. Is that Carolina that he wants to go to?
I got a screenshot of this one.
Oh no. Oh, I froze. Oh dear. Oh, you're back.
Oh,
okay.
wait.
You're back.
Yes. Your audio came back before the video, so I still was able to snip your face.
Oh dear. Oh no.
Anyway, continue.
Anyway, yeah, I was saying everyone has a theory about how Rantanen will end up on their team. He can go wherever he wants. There's kind of three scenarios that happen when a player like this gets traded somewhere. One, as soon as they get traded, like a day after, they get signed because they already knew they wanted to be there. It already was pretty much figured out. It was just making it a formality. Second option is they're just there, like with Guentzel, they're just there. They go there, and then they leave the year after. After the end of that season. They're like, yeah, it's a fun ride, but peace.
It's a rental, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pure rental. The third option is they're unsure and they have to feel it out. They're like, I don't know enough about this team. I need to live it and experience it. And it's kind of they're evaluating their desire. I think it'd be crazy if somehow Rantanen ended up back on Colorado afterwards. That would be really funny.
It's possible.
That's not going to... I think Colorado burned that bridge by trading him. From everything that we've heard, it was a surprise and not what he thought was going to happen. So I don't think he'd do that. I don't know if he'll stay in Carolina.
Well, and obviously, you know, like we've both said, I have heard every team wants him. Every team's going to give him a pitch. The only one that I've heard really anything beyond that, and I hesitate to say anything real, but it's like the realist that I've heard. But also, you have to take it with a grain of salt because Toronto let Marner go in free agency, pick up Mikko Rantanen instead.
Well, Toronto's always going to have, like, there's every player. Toronto somehow is apparently going to be able to trade for and sign every single good player under the sun.
Exactly.
And going to win every trophy. That's the thing. Like, I don't see Mikko Rantanen going to Toronto because if he can't handle, say he leaves Carolina because he doesn't like the heat of being the only top guy. You think Toronto's going to be where he wants to go instead?
Exactly.
Like, no.
But I have one more. And this is a theory that I came up with while we've been talking about it. And I know that this is meant to be a little bit 100% out there, but it's a bit out there.
Okay.
You know, I was just talking about
I swear if it's Utah.
Environment and kind of where you live and what do you know. What city has a hockey team that is a very similar environment to Colorado? This team also looking to get a very strong power forward. This team also already has a ton of cap space and then getting more cap space in the offseason. All I'm saying is it could happen. It's not 100% out there. I acknowledge it is out there.
I won't say it's the most outlandish theory you could say. I'm not saying it's the most outlandish theory thrown out there. But from the late 2000s to early 2010s, this was the type of attitude that Edmonton had all the time, where they're like, oh, we're the perfect destination for all these guys, and they're going to want to come here. And, Danny Heatley, if you remember that name, he was this big name that, he's going to sign in Edmonton. He's coming to Edmonton. And there was at one point where literally almost every news station in Edmonton was saying, Danny Heatley signed in Edmonton. But the one that actually was reliable and would have the information was not saying that. So it's like, hold on, wait. Yep. Obviously, he never signed here. It's
pump the brakes.
Yeah, so it's it is what it is, but we'll see. I think the thing that kind of throws a wrench into this too is he's already won a cup. So it's not even so much about winning that cup. Obviously, he still wants to win. He still wants to win championships. But no player would ever tell you, no, they don't want to win a championship. But he has one. Yeah. So he can now all of a sudden start to just completely...
You can think about other things too, yeah.
Yeah, you can do a little more where most feels like home. Where are my best friends playing? Where is this and that, right? So it's... I would love to know more about his personal desires before I say, oh yeah, he's totally going to be staying in Carolina, or nah, he's going to be going to Tampa. He's going to be going to Edmonton. He's going to be going to Anaheim. He's going who knows?
Yeah. It makes me wonder too, with him specifically. Again, like we were saying, one of the big scenarios that we see, and we've already seen it with a couple players that have been traded the last few weeks. Within a day, 2 days, 3 days max, they've already re-signed. It's like, okay, fine. I got traded here. I'm happy here. He was obviously willing to sign a longer-term deal. He was willing to be locked down. He was trying to be with Colorado. Had Colorado given him that contract, slid that across the table, he signs it, done deal. I can guarantee Carolina has at least given him a contract to sign.
Oh, yeah, they'll be already talking about it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No question.
Why has he not signed one 2 weeks after being there? If he was asking $14 million from Colorado, guarantee Carolina's like, oh, yeah, we can do that, especially with the cap going up. Yeah, starting next year, you want to make $14 million? Here's the contract. He hasn't signed it. I'm not saying that guarantees that he's leaving, but it is interesting.
Well,
it is an interesting thought.
Well, and I think it's likely if he is open to signing, it's likely he's just the type of person that's like, hey, I don't want to rush things. Let me just, look around, get a feel for things. Let me, move my family over here or figure out where they're going to be. Let me look into, houses. Let me look at the tax situation. Yeah. There's all that sort of stuff. And if we look at, we can even look at, say, the Finnish lineup here. Who could he possibly be interested? Because, often countrymen like playing with other countrymen. And, what if he's more interested in going to Florida to be with Barkov? What if he,
say it.
Hintz and Heiskanen? What if he wants to go to Dallas? Dallas, Sagan and Ben are getting pretty old. They might not be there.
Yusuf Alamaki and Olimata.
There you go. There's actually maybe some possible argument for the Utah thing. I don't know.
Yes, there's another one.
There's another one.
Rantanen coming to Utah confirmed. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Dude, if that happens, I am playing this part of this podcast on repeat forever.
Yeah.
Well, I was the first person to call that. I'm considering us media. I am the first person in the media to have called that. Rantanen to the Utah Hockey Club. Sorry, the Utah Outlaws. 2025-2026.
You guys need to figure out a better logo, though. I love the name, but that logo, can you, EA
literally,
Sports, it's the logo. It's the logo from EA Sports' NHL. Like, it's with your custom logos. It's that.
It literally is. Yeah.
That can't be the actual logos they'd go with. That can't possibly.
Those are all mock-ups. So yeah, they're not the actual logos. The problem that I have is between those logos, the Utah Hockey Club, they have a Yeti as the logo. but the back of the head, the hair of the Yeti is
It's
shaped
the
like the mountains.
mountains. Yeah, very
I
wild-esque logo.
I had this idea, and then I saw some people online that had the same idea and actually photoshopped it. Take the mountain hair off the Yeti, put it on the back of the mammoth. I've seen some of those mock-ups.
I have
That
seen
looks
that.
awesome.
Yeah, that
That
looks
is
pretty
the
cool.
coolest look. I hate
just-
the
they
name
look-
mammoth.
Yeah, I mean,
Hate
all
it.
those logos just look too AI generated to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give me an actual artist to design them. Anyway, okay, back to the players. But yeah, so Mikko Rantanen. But look who's even above him in terms of pending UFAs.
Yep.
It is Mitchell Marner. Mitchell.
Yeah. This is sorted by points on the season,
Yes.
just in case anybody's wondering. That's how this list is auto-generated.
I mean, we could also do it by cap hit, which you've then got
Yeah.
John Tavares and Mitch Marner. Oh boy. And then
Oh yeah, Toronto's in cap hell.
Yeah, well, and then you've got Jamie Benn, who is 35 years old. He's coming to the end of this contract.
Yeah.
Brett Burns.
He's going to be an interesting one in my mind to watch.
Yeah, I mean, he's the
I mean,
captain.
nobody's going to want to give him a 6-year contract, 8-year contract at 35.
No, and
So,
he's going to
in
go
my
down
mind-
in his.
Yeah. It's got to be Dallas giving him a team-friendly contract for 3 years, 4 years max, just to keep the guy around to sell jerseys.
Well, I mean,
I'm not
he's
saying
still
he's got
doing
nothing left in
fine.
the tank. I'm not saying that, but like, again, he's going to decline. Nobody's going to give him that huge long-term deal because he's old.
Well, he's a great depth forward now. Like, and he is a clutch player. He does show up in big moments. Now, oh, you froze. Well, while we wait for Jeff to come back. Yeah. Oh, you're back. Okay. Now, do we know if Brent Burns is retiring? Hello? Hello?
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Do we know if Brent Burns is retiring?
I haven't heard anything.
Because we've got this nice little string of defensemen here: Brent Burns, Dmitry Orlov, and Aaron Ekblad. The latter two having being good ages for another decent contract coming on up here.
Yeah.
Then we've also got Ivan Provorov, Brock Besser, Claude Giroux, Jeff Petrie. How old is he? He's 37. I feel like Jeff Petrie's going to be finishing up here pretty soon.
Yeah, we got a number of these guys that are kind of getting to that point.
Brad Marchand.
Marchie. He's one I've actually been seeing a lot of rumors about, and I sent you that first article the other day as a meme because I like to. I have been seeing a lot more of that. Now, again, of course, that doesn't mean anything's confirmed. That doesn't mean anything's legit. But as a general rule, when I start seeing it from many, many different sources, there's at least whisperings of truth behind it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily make sense to me from either team's side, but Brad Marchand to Edmonton. I've been seeing it quite a bit over the last
it's
couple
not
days.
going to happen. No, he's too small. We don't need another small forward. I'm telling you right now, all the speculation you're hearing, I've been
Like I
hearing
said,
none of it. It's
I
all
don't-
external.
I
It's
don't
nothing
think
from
so.
here. It's nothing
Yeah.
from here. I
Yeah.
promise you, Edmonton is not interested in Brad Marchand. We have Corey Perry fills that role. We don't need another Corey Perry. We need size.
I agree.
We need, like, the most recent thing that I've heard that I like is Noah Dobson to Edmonton from the New York Islanders.
Huh?
But I think what's more interesting is to look at who needs to be signed and who are possible sellers. Like say with Brad Marchand. Let's look at Boston. Boston if we look at the standings. They're
Boston's
they're
never
right
going
in,
to sell.
well,
Oh,
they,
good.
they're going to have to be considering it. Because, yes,
Yeah,
technically
I
they're in the
agree.
playoff race, but look at this. They're minus 24 goal differential. They're not scoring. They need help for pasta.
No, 100%. And I think we need to be sellers. I don't see it happening. Boston's got too much pride as an organization, as a team. I don't see them ever going full rebuild mode. I see them just kind of, let's just band-aid over it and plaster over it till we get lucky with a couple of hits, and then we're dominant again. I hope that's not the case. We need to just clean house and rebuild right now. I just don't see them doing it.
Islanders are 8-2 in their last 10. Wow, that's impressive. Yeah, I mean, but even still, you can kind of be a both buyer and seller at the same time, where you're just trying to come up with fixes. And I see Boston as that. I could see the Islanders as that, though I think they do need to go into sell mode.
Yeah,
We
I would
we
agree.
know Pittsburgh is, but it's
Islanders are overperforming right now.
yeah. But you think about it with Philly. They've got Andrei Kuzmenko coming up here. Yanni Gord from Seattle, Kyle Palmieri,
One of these
Michael
that
Granlund's
I'm
Dallas.
seeing- Yep, yes. So that could just be a rental, but he might re-sign there. But the one that's really catching my eye up here, Jacob Chikrin.
He's always on the list. Nah, they
I
They're-
think he's just very underrated. I'd love to see him go. I'd love to
But
see him
he's-
come back.
he's on the Capitals though. They're not
I
going to
know.
let that guy go.
I know. That's the hard part. But I'd love to see him come back to Utah. I
He's
was
never been
pissed
in
when
Utah.
Arizona got rid of him. Well, yeah, he was in Arizona. But
Yeah.
a
Another
couple of players over the last 2-3 years that Arizona got rid of, and I'm like, dude, you're killing me.
Another big question mark as to what they're going to be like at the deadline is Calgary, because Calgary, if we also look at
They're right there. They could go either way. Yeah.
they've for RFAs, you got Matt Coronado, Morgan Frost, Connor Zary. Yeah, they've got some possible options. It's not even of pending UFAs. They've got people have been expressing interest in Rasmus Anderson, Mackenzie Weegar,
Yep.
Nazem Kadri, and they're saying no, we're not doing anything. We're not moving any of these guys. But I don't know. It's you've got Gabriel Velarde out of Winnipeg, who's going to be expanding. I mean, they'll sign him. He's having a phenomenal
Alex
season.
Iafallo out of Winnipeg as well.
Yeah, you got Capo Caco, Morgan Geeky out of Boston. That's another guy who's kind of up and coming. He's been hot lately.
Geeky and Trent Frederick need to be re-signed by Boston. They're both on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Ian Cole, Nick Bjugstad of Utah, Alexander Kerfoot.
Matthew Nyes is a big one too. Here, I'll switch it back.
I've been hearing a lot about Matthew Nyes. Yep.
Yeah, he's been having quite the season. He's been really starting to heat up. So that's a big one that Toronto's going to want to keep. But again, how do they keep everyone? What?
Oli Mata's on this list. They
Oli
better be
Mata.
re-signing him.
Yeah, these are things because again, Utah, they're not necessarily going to be sellers because you already have so many prospects, so many picks. You're gonna want to be more buyers, but you're not yet the hot destination for these players. I'm gonna put Utah on my no. I'm gonna waive my no trade clause for Utah. That's you don't quite yet have the selling point. And that's what's interesting is you've got, if we look at the places that are that, you've got Florida, Washington, Carolina, Winnipeg, Dallas, Edmonton, Vegas. These are the teams, and possibly even Colorado. And you could maybe throw Minnesota in. These are the buyers. Los Angeles, they're going to say they're going to want to be a buyer.
Yeah, good luck.
I think I still think they're overperforming this year. Because I mean,
Yep.
heck, look at their home record. Their home record, they're 17-3-1.
Yep.
That's insane. Away, they're 12-14-5. They're worse on the road. They're incredible at home. So yeah, they've got some home ice advantage right now. But the thing is, if that was to carry on into the playoffs, which things often don't, that they're not in a position where they're often going to have home ice advantage.
No.
Thus, they're likely to lose the series. Then you've got these teams like Vancouver. Are they magically settlers? Like we've said, they could go into full rebuild. They could send away Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
What do we do?
They're the only weird one in my mind because they're talent-wise, they should be buying and they should be making a push. But just all the external crap that they're having to deal with, it's weighing on them, and it's absolutely changing the way that everything has to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really interesting one for me. But as far as LA, with you saying they're overperforming, I'm very inclined to agree. I have been agreeing, but at some point, and I don't know where that point is, and that's, I guess, what my question, when is that point where they're no longer overperforming? We were just wrong about them.
Well, I think that's what we find
Washington?
out next year. I think that's something, because the thing is, like Vancouver last year won the division.
Yeah.
You've got certain teams that New York Rangers won the President's Trophy last year.
Yeah.
There are teams that have great seasons and then go back. Like someone can overperform for a whole season. That is possible.
But the Kings have been in the playoffs how many years now in a row?
Sure, but they
get bounced by Edmonton every year.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue that they shouldn't be, but because other teams in the Pacific have fallen up, because, I mean, if you look at it, they're in a division with both San Jose, Seattle, and Anaheim. And yeah, Seattle a couple of years ago made it into the wild card, but the only teams
you're
you have to
thinking LA's not good, they're just not as crap.
That might be the case, just because they only have to compete. They've never won the division. They've been coming second or third, and they've just been flip flopping with Edmonton. So it's always just been, well, Vegas, Calgary, or Vancouver have a monster year. That's what's it. And then the other two of those three have always kind of just flopped. It honestly is a bit of a curse to win the Pacific, because what happened? Calgary 3 years ago won the Pacific. What happened? The next year they missed the playoffs. Vegas the following year, and the year before that, Vegas had won the Pacific. The year that Calgary won the division, Vegas didn't make the playoffs. Vancouver last year won the Pacific. What happened? Now they might not even make the playoffs. Like it's kind of, you win the Pacific, next year you don't make the playoffs. It's kind of weird. It's kind of funny what happens there.
Yeah.
So
LA, I see that little bit of pain on your face.
No, I don't. I think we're fine. Curses are meant to be broken. Okay.
Okay.
Curses exist just like rules. They exist to be broken. Then you have, and then if you look at the Central, I mean, you've got the Nashville shouldn't be as bad as they are, but cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you got Chicago. There's less bad teams, I'd say, than, like, I don't know. LA has always just been able to hang around. They've got the depth to do well. They're kind of a gatekeeper. They just fill that role of gatekeeper. They're kind of like what the Maple Leafs have been, or what Boston's kind of been in the playoffs sometimes. Like, they're this gatekeeper. They're good. They're always going to be there. They're always going to be hanging around. But where's the oomph?
Yeah. Yeah, they just can't get over the hump. I mean, and that's a fair take. That's a fair take for sure.
And it's, they've been riding on the backs of players that once upon a time got them Stanley Cups, like Drew Doughty, like Anze Kopitar. Right? They had Jonathan Quick for all that time.
And leaving, Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they going to do in the next couple of years? Yeah.
So that's kind of the interesting thing. Could they even be a seller? I don't know. They've got good guys like Quinton Byfield, but I think Quinton Byfield might even be on this list of RFAs.
I think I saw him, yeah. Maybe not.
Nope. He must have like a couple years left. Okay. Well, I don't know. There's some interesting names here. There's definitely gives some pause for interesting possible moves at this deadline. And we'll see. We'll see. And with the cap going up, that just makes a lot more things, but a lot more teams now over these next 2 weeks of the Four Nations have some time to evaluate and be like, hey, what do we want?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would be paying attention during the Four Nations. I think we're going to see a couple of big moves. And I'm not saying who they're going to be. I don't know. I think like you said, it's going to give time for some of these teams to kind of sit down, evaluate where they are, what they need, what they're looking to do. I think we'll see a couple moves in the break.
Yeah, I could totally see it.
So.
Cool. Okay. Well, on to our final item of the day, our Saturday head-to-head. Jeff, how'd you do last week?
I did very, very badly. I don't remember what exactly the record was. I've already scrubbed that from my memory, but it was.
Would you like me? I can tell you if you would like.
I do want to point out though. What was the one prediction I made? Other than who won games?
That OV would score, and Washington. Well, no. You said Washington would win and OV would score. Yeah, OV scored.
I just asked the question. What was the one prediction other than game winners that I made? And I made one prediction other than a game winner, and I got it. So I'm taking credit for that. I got the game wrong, but
I mean,
Gunther
when a guy's scoring,
I'm just putting that out there too.
When a guy's scoring in 68% of his games, or that's his average, I don't know how much I call it. This huge prediction.
You can hate on it all you want.
Take your wins. But you went 2-7. 2-7. And I went 4-5. Hey. So we both were under 50%. Both under 50%. But hey, you with that you did drop to below 50% on the season for predicting overall. You're 74-77.
So bad.
But that you can turn that around this week. We've got a lot of games. And we're starting off with New Jersey versus Montreal.
Give me the Devils.
Me too.
I feel like that's an obvious one though.
I think they're a little angry because they've lost a couple times recently, and I think they want to get back in the win column. Now, this is a hot game that we're having. We have the Detroit Red Wings, who are on a 7-game heater. Won their last 7 in a row against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are on a 2-game winning streak. So respectable.
Give me Tampa. I know it's a tough one, but a 7-game win streak, there's a lot of pressure there. It ends. I've been seeing way too many octopi lately, and I'm ready to.
I love my Lightning. But I've been burned by the Wings before.
I mean, fair.
And I feel like whoever I pick is going to lose. That's the thing here. Is no matter what I pick, I'm going to be wrong. It's one of those scenarios that it's like, oh, this or that. But I'm going to go with Tampa. I'm going to go with my heart.
Why you got to do that to me?
It's nothing personal. Utah. Yeah, I'm picking Carolina. I love.
Carolina's a very good team, but we dominated them last time.
Yeah, but last time they didn't have Mikko Rantanen.
49 shots.
Last time they didn't have Mikko Rantanen. Moose.
Yeah, that's
Moose.
they don't have Davis, and he's the only one who scored against us. So
That's because Rantanen was near.
Vegas,
Boston.
Oof. Give me Boston.
I'm going
I need
Vegas, baby.
Need it. This is the
Ottawa,
week that
Florida.
this might actually come true for me. Give me Ottawa
true.
over Florida.
And I like to be contradictory too. Ottawa's been good to me. I usually pick Ottawa, and they've been good to me. But I just, because I like doing it, I gotta go Florida. Pittsburgh and
Philly.
Philly.
The crap bowl.
Now, see, this is a funny thing. If my answer is very dependent on if Crosby does play today.
Okay.
Because Crosby has been a Flyers merchant. I think I saw it was like 88 or 89 games. He has 133 points in his career against the Flyers.
Yeah.
The Battle of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I was leaning Pittsburgh, but after you tell me that, I'm going to go Pittsburgh solid and just assume that he's going to play.
Well, I'm going Philly because I don't think he's going to play, because I think he's going to keep himself fresh and get himself ready for Four Nations.
Okay.
The
Rangers
Rangeners against Columbus.
Give me Columbus.
Same. Chicago at St. Louis.
Give me Chicago.
I'm going St. Louis.
Okay.
Toronto at Vancouver.
Toronto does really good on Saturdays, so give me Toronto.
I hate myself for it, but I'm also picking Toronto.
Yeah.
And then Buffalo, Nashville. I'm going Buffalo.
Ooh, give me Nashville.
The Islanders at Minnesota. Minnesota.
Give me the Islanders.
Oh, I'm going Minnesota.
Taking that upset today.
I don't know if it's an upset per se. I think Minnesota's still dealing with some injuries, but
Yeah, oh yeah. Prizov's out again. About ready to dump him off my fantasy team. Tired of him. Seattle, Calgary.
I'll trade him for Nikushkin. He's on my IR. Seattle, Calgary.
Give me Calgary.
Oh, yeah. Calgary wants it. They're hungry, baby. Dallas, San Jose.
Dallas.
Anaheim, LA.
I think LA's going to win it, but
I'm picking LA.
So it would be so fun if they lost to the Ducks. You know what? Every dog has his day. Give me Anaheim.
Okay. Thank you for letting me win.
You're welcome.
Because when it comes, when we watch it come down to that game, it's gonna be great. Okay. Well, GG's. Thank you.
All right, let's get out of here. A couple games have already started, and I need to see how Utah's doing.
Okay. Good luck. Have fun.
They better be winning. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in a few weeks. We are off the next 2 weeks for the Four Nations. So we will return.
Bye-bye.
Until then, make sure you watch Four Nations. Watch some games. See ya.